Good morning, good evening, and good day. I'm Francine and I really love Kdramas. You're listening to Dramabuds, a Globe Studios podcast. So hello everyone! Welcome back to Dramabuds Season 2 and welcome to the very special anniversary episode of our beloved K-drama podcast. Can you believe it? Because I cannot. I mean, if you told me a year ago that, you're going to release a lot of episodes, you're going to say a lot of things in the span of a year, and keep going until, have we reached 50 or 40 plus episodes by now? You know what? November 2020, Francine, would not have believed you. But alas, we are here. So today, I just want to talk about the past year, how it was like running the podcast, and how I've changed as a K-drama viewer because, having to turn a critical eye to everything you watch or most of the things you watch, it changes you, man. It changes your preference. It changes how you watch things. And I'll also answer a few questions that were sent to me through my DMs or through the Facebook page, which, by the way, if you have not followed me on Twitter or liked the Facebook page, how did you even find this podcast? But yeah, go check those out. It's how you get updates on our episodes. Okay, let's do it. History of Dramabuds. If you ask me, how did it all begin? Right? That's a story, actually. It's a long story. Originally, I was supposed to start a K-drama podcast with my sister. She's been featured on the show many times. We recorded an episode, actually, talking about It's Okay to Not Be Okay. And in the middle of editing, I swear, I was editing this to the best of my ability. In the middle of that, the file got corrupted. And it was just a very tiring experience because we didn't know what we were doing yet. So, yeah, we just never tried again. But I don't know why I still felt the need or just this desire to do it. I just want to make a podcast and I want to talk about my K-drama thoughts because, having a Twitter account or whatever, it's not enough. Okay? I need people to listen to me. So yeah, I just did it. Whatever. I released the first episode about Do You Like Brahms, which was at the time this massive discovery for us. I've never liked a romance the way I liked Do You Like Brahms, or more I never loved an ongoing show that much until then. That and It's Okay to Not Be Okay, right? At the time, I did not know how rare it would be, actually, to feel that way about an ongoing show. Okay. So, yeah, after Do You Like Brahms, I did the Missing one because I truly, truly love that show. And then, I thought I would only make 4 episodes. Maybe Brahms, Missing, Hospital Playlist, and, I don't know, some other show, I thought I would only do 4 episodes, I swear. And I would stop and be that was fun. For a month, I did it. Cool. But then, that month, that November, that was when I watched My Mister, It's Okay, That's Love, Hot Stove League, Hyena also, which I have not reviewed on the show, but for the record, I love that show. It's crazy, it's wacky. I loved it. But yeah, I watched so many good K-dramas in a row during that month. And I thought, you know what? I want to talk about My Mister. I want to talk about It's Okay, That's Love, Hot Stove League. There were so many shows that I wanted to talk about. And I thought, okay, I could keep it going. I could keep the podcast going until the end of the year. Maybe I could end it with what would I call that? A year-end recap. That would have been a good end to the whole podcast thing. And then during the Christmas break, that's when I watched Stranger, Arthdale Chronicles, Signal. I just kept watching good shows. If you notice, my first 20 episodes maybe were all reviews, recaps, and rants, because that was when I was just encountering so many great shows that I wanted to talk about. And then when I ran out of great shows, that's when I started doing the Ask Me Anything and the other formats, because I was really running out of shows that I truly loved and wanted to talk about. So I started the podcast actually while I was taking a class on K-dramas. Like my first and only class under the College of Mass Communications in my university. So as someone studying the social sciences, like a completely different approach to things, I was always thinking of the work, the K-drama by itself, like what the actual content was, like the characters, the themes, the plot. But I never really looked at it on based on like how it was presented or how it appealed to people, which was something that I started seeing more when I looked at it from a mass comm perspective, right? Because K-dramas appeal to people. K-dramas finally appealed to me after years of avoiding it. After years of being very like vehemently, no, I only like K-pop. I'm not a K-drama fan. But like out of nowhere, I watched Chloe, one of the cheesiest love stories of the recent years. And it's like, yeah, I loved it when I first watched it, and then just got hooked on so many things. So like, where was the appeal coming from? Especially at a time like this. So what are the stories they're trying to tell? Why is it so interesting, so engaging for viewers like us? And for me, as someone who came from like Western TV shows, I always mention this. Why did it appeal to me so much? Like, I have never cried over a TV show ever. A movie, maybe like Inside Out. Okay, it was very emotional when Riley came back home after running away and cried to her parents for the first time. Anyway, I'm not an emotional person. I wasn't. And then K-dramas happened, and then it just tapped into my emotions so directly. And I just wanted to understand that. I wanted to analyze that and express that. So, yeah, at the start of the podcast, I did a lot of reviews and analyses, and I just tried to apply what I learned from my class, because we also kind of discussed like why are K-dramas so popular, right? Anyway, when the semester ended, it took a lot of, courage and shamelessness to plug my podcast to my class. Yup, I posted on the discussion forum, "Hi everyone, now that the semester is over, I just wanted to plug my podcast." And I plugged the Miseng episode because that was an assigned watching for us. And you know what? My professor emailed me and she said she would feature it on her Facebook page about K-dramas. And I thought like, gee, that's so exciting for me, Sometimes you just have to shoot your shot. And when she did, like, that was the day that my stats like blew up. Suddenly there were so many people listening, and it was crazy. Because for a long time, it just felt like me speaking to myself. No one's really listening. But that's fine, because I was enjoying the process of, writing things, watching things, writing about them, thinking a lot about them, and expressing it. I love public speaking. This is the closest I will get to public speaking. So yeah, when my professor promoted it, and I just got so many new people following the Facebook page and just commenting and listening, just listening, period. It was so validating. I don't know, it just felt nice to know that, I might be making some points and people might want to listen to that. And that was several months in. I think that was back in March. Yeah. So that was very timely, because I remember at the end of March, after the 20th episode, I thought I was going to give up. I thought I was like, maybe I'll just release an episode every other week or every month. I had watched a lot of good shows and I wasn't finding any good shows, and I was about to give up. I swear, I was almost done. And then that happened. And, well, I can't stop. The moment that it's finally starting to pick up, I can't just suddenly stop. That would be such a waste of momentum. So yeah, I refer to that as like my first, my Brave Girls moment. So if you didn't know, Brave Girls is this K-pop girl group that they're kind of old. The current set of members were active for like 5 years or something, but they just weren't successful. It just wasn't clicking. And then they were about to like leave the dorms, pack up, disband finally. And then on that same day or something along that line, that's suddenly when their song from 2017 blew up. And it's like, well, I guess we can't give up and disband now. So I guess we have to promote this and let's release a few songs and let's get all these CFs and make money for the first time in 5 years or something. So that's kind of what happened to me. Several times, actually. There were several times and I was like, maybe I'll just give up. Maybe we can just stop here and it's fine. And then some promotion or some opportunity arrives at my doorstep or my inbox. And I just like, well, I can't stop here. I can't stop now. I gotta keep going. So, yeah, I'm just kind of on that high right now. I just have to keep going because like it would be a waste to stop now. So many months later, I am still here. Yes, hello, it's me. I only slowed down a bit for the past few months because I'm a college senior, guys. I am also very grade conscious. I'm pretty sure that's very apparent that I'm sure that it's apparent that I'm that kind of person, very grade conscious, very type A. It does not like slowing down on my academics and prioritizing something else does not feel like an option. It is not an option. And so I thought, okay, if something has to take the back burner for a while, it's the podcast. I have to go study or at least, get used to my new set of subjects this semester. So that's what's going on. But yeah, I think I'll be back to a regular schedule as I used to do. Yeah, I think I've adjusted well enough. So yeah, that's the history of the podcast from November 10th, 2020 to November whatever date this is going out, 2021. Uh it's been a ride. It's been pretty crazy, but it's also been really great and really fulfilling in a weird way. So, of course, like I started out, just casually watching K-dramas, and then I did this to myself. I chose to be a K-drama reviewer person. And now we're here, and obviously my watching experience has changed. Like watching K-dramas is very different, especially since I've been doing this for about a year now. Honestly, I became way more critical of everything I'm watching, more than I even wanted to be. Like, of course, I want to be critical, right? That's the kind of person I like to think of things. But there's just a point where it's like, girl, just turn off your brain and enjoy things. Like, some things are meant to be enjoyed. And my brain is like, no. If it were enjoyable, truly, then I would shut up. My brain is literally saying, if I am on, that means this isn't as good as what you want it to be. And so, yeah, I can't shut down my critical thinking. It's very tiring. And also, I just get very easily bored because I feel like I am seeing so many tropes. Like, I've watched so many shows and I've just seen so many of the same tropes over and over again. I swear, if I watch another K-drama with like a childhood connection, I'm going to lose it. There was this show where not even 6 minutes in, they introduced the characters as adults, and then 6 or so minutes into the show, they flash back to a childhood connection. And at that moment, I'm done. I'm out. I don't want to see this. I don't want to be here. That's my number one trope pet peeve. Like, you're telling me that I'm going to meet someone someday when I'm 25 years old. I'm gonna meet someone who apparently, when I was in kindergarten, saw me on stage and was like, whoa, she's so pretty. And then, 20 years later, we're gonna meet and it's gonna be like, oh, she's that girl from the stage when I was in kinder. No, it's not going to happen that way. I want to conduct a survey. How many people have actually had a childhood connection with the person that they're dating or the person that they married? Okay, I swear it's a very small percentage. I promise you. Unless like they actually grew up together. But randomly meeting someone who somehow had a connection to your childhood, very improbable. Not impossible, but improbable. And K-dramas will never make me buy into it. I don't think I've ever liked it, actually. Anyway, oh my god. See? See? That's such a small aspect of some K-dramas. And yet, the moment I see it, I just get so mad. Because it's so annoying and so overused. And I can't. I cannot. I cannot. So there, do you understand what I'm going through right now? I am so hypercritical of everything, and I consider a show to be good when I can turn off my brain and I don't like feel the need to criticize it because I'm engaged enough to not even care about everything that I can nitpick. Like, trust me, I can nitpick so much. I can pick on every little detail and criticize it. I can do that. But there are some shows where it's like, whatever, I'll ride with it. Or like, I see what you're trying to do and I'll buy into it for now. But that's if I'm engaged, which is not, it's very difficult. My attention span is just, it's gone. Okay, so yeah, show is good if I can turn off my brain. Or if my brain is on, but it's making me reflect on my life and what the show is trying to convey. Not necessarily like, me thinking about the plot or the characters or whatever I want to criticize. Like, no, if my brain is thinking about like, I've seen this situation in my real life or I can imagine this happening and I truly empathize with both sides of the situation and, that kind of thinking, that self-reflective stuff, I love it. Like, that's good. That means I like something if I'm, thinking back to myself. That's right. But yeah, many shows, it's like, oh, I'm so bored. I'm so bored so often. And I have to physically stop myself from voicing out my criticisms because the moment I voice it out and I hear someone agree with me, I'm just going to keep going. Because I'm just like, oh, finally, I'm not the only person who thinks that there's something wrong with this or thinks that this isn't well done or well executed or that this other show has done this trope or this kind of storyline better. I'm being very careful to like not voice out my negative opinions anymore just to avoid like snowballing into more and more negativity and just hate watching things because I don't enjoy that either. I don't have a lot of time in this, finite world, and I would rather not waste my time actively hating things anymore. Yeah, that's right. The startup days are over, okay? I do not want to live like that anymore. Okay. All right. So, I'm just going to answer a few questions that I got from my friends actually, or from my family members, or from just people who listen to the podcast and sent a few questions through Facebook or through Twitter. So, one very nice question I got was, what's the best part of running the podcast? That's interesting. The best part is listening to my own voice. Joke. That was a joke. That was totally a joke. I'm not that vain. Okay, the best part of the podcast for me is thinking. Very much, counter to what I said earlier, that I hate thinking. Actually, I do enjoy thinking. I love thinking. I love thinking of like my analysis and writing it down. And then as I'm writing, my usual flow when I do review episodes is plot and characters, or simplifying the plot as much as I can, and then the characters, trying to break down their history and I guess what I consider to be their major journey throughout the show, and then going into, I don't know, it depends. Sometimes it's like, okay, what was good about the show, or what was bad about the show, or like what were the very important relationships that I think conveyed something very interesting and thought-provoking in terms of relationships with each other or relationships as a community. Sometimes it's like, okay, what were the themes of this show that I noticed? And I really love analyzing themes and then relating it back to the characters. Because I just, the epiphany moments, I feel like I had a few of these. Or, yeah, anyway. I love just having random epiphanies because, I'm thinking, and then I remember this in Be Melodramatic. As I was talking about each of the three girls, I was like, what? They must have a shared journey, right? Like, what is the thing that they all share aside from being friends and working in the entertainment industry? Like, there must be something about their journeys that we can all tie it together because they are our main girls. There must be something in common among the three of them. And I thought, it gets easier when you're 30. Right? That's the title of Chunwoohee's character, her show, the show that she's writing. But their stories, all three of them, it's about how, they're over their 30s, but life is not any easier. It does not get easier when you're older, when you're 30. And I don't know, I think that's what the show was trying to convey. It's like very, very much against what Chunwoohee was writing about in her drama. Like, it's a false promise because they're literally not living that life. She's literally going against what she's promising through the title of her drama. I don't know, that was something that came when I was writing the outline, when I was doing my script. And I think, like, whoa, if I had just not done this at all, if I didn't do this whole analysis episode, this review, I never would have seen that show in that light. And I think that's why it hit me a little bit harder than I expected. Because I liked the show, but I loved the show when I came upon that realization. Because I thought, like, okay, it's making me feel things. I like the characters, even if they're quirky and wacky. And that's not usually the type of character that I enjoy watching, because sometimes it's corny. But, I like the humor, but there's something about it that makes it more emotionally deep. It's emotionally deeper than I expected it to be, and that was it. That, like, when I found their common theme, like, oh, that's great. That's pretty good, because it wasn't like, well, it was put outright in the show, right? But the opposite of that, the actual meaning of it, or the actual theme of the show, I came upon that through my analysis, through my overthinking of everything. And that was the best part of running the podcast. It's applying my overthinking and my analysis, and all of this craziness has helped me appreciate the show better. So in a way, it has spoiled my viewing experience, like the overthinking and the criticizing and analyzing. Like, it's made it harder to get into things. But the things I ended up liking, I really appreciate them because I put a lot of thought and really try to analyze and understand, what they were trying to convey with their show. So yeah, greater appreciation of the shows that I've watched. That's the best part. The worst part is not being able to enjoy things because I'm overthinking all the time. There. Okay, another question. How have you been dealing with your K-drama slump? Yes, hello. I am currently experiencing a K-drama slump. It's so hard. I have enjoyed very few things maybe in the past, oh my god, 5 months, 4 months. Yeah, I swear. So I've been taking a break from Korean media, like K-dramas, movies, variety shows. Nothing. Not as much as I used to. Because I can't. I feel like my brain has been fried inside and I just need a break from it. So yeah, I've been trying to watch English shows in English because do you know how amazing it is to not need to actually watch what you're watching and just listen because you can understand what they're saying? Fascinating, amazing. Recently I binged the 3rd season of You on Netflix. Crazy show. Guilty pleasure, honestly. I know it's not fantastic television, but it is fun. It's wild. I'm into it. I also watched Ted Lasso. Binged that as well. I'm a binger, okay? What can I do? I binged the first 2 seasons and I thought it was done. But apparently, the final episode was still airing that Friday. And like the 3 days of torture just wondering if Roy and Keely were going to break up. Spoilers for Ted Lasso. I don't know if anyone watches that here. But yeah, I love comedies. That was a good comedy. It was my sense of humor, more dry than other types of comedies. Yeah, I like the dry humor. As seen in Be Melodramatic. I love that show. What else? Okay, aside from English television shows, I've also been watching a lot of Dimension 20. Let me be a nerd for like 2 minutes. It's basically a Dungeons and Dragons, people playing Dungeons and Dragons and filming it and presenting just like a full story with a full cast of characters and rolling a bunch of dice and me crying over people rolling their dice because it is truly exhilarating. I cannot explain it. It's on YouTube. Some seasons are on YouTube. Some of them, I pay for it. Guys, I pay for a YouTube membership. I pay 170 pesos every month to gain access to the college humor videos that are hidden behind their membership thing because they have a streaming service that I can't apply for because I don't have a US credit card. So I am supporting a company by paying for their YouTube membership. And honestly, it's been worth it because every month I watch literally over 50 hours of content every month. Yeah, I just watch a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. I just watch a lot of YouTube videos of people rolling dice for 2.5 hours. It's fun. It's great. It's amazing. Yeah, that's been my life. Hobbies wise, I've always been into crochet, I think, for the past few months. But now I'm just going into overdrive, making a new blanket for myself. That's exciting. Yeah, that's what I've been doing in my life. And I can do that now while watching/listening to things that are in English because I speak the language and I don't need to actually watch it. Amazing. Fantastic. Wonderful. That's why I'm so productive with my crocheting because I don't have to actually read subtitles. Amazing. Anyway, yeah, I've taken a break for like a month, 2 months, but I am thinking of watching more Korean stuff. I think I'm getting back into it. I've been trying at least. Right now I'm watching Birthcare Center on View. It's really funny but also very heartwarming, obviously, because it's about mothers and parenthood in general, and just very okay. Just earlier tonight, I was crying over a scene in episode 6. If you watched it, you know it. Uh, yes, it has finally gotten me. It's been a while since I cried over a K-drama like that. Anyway, yeah, I like it because it's funny and heartwarming and short. It's only 8 episodes, which I totally appreciate. I think shows should be getting shorter and shorter and only have one season. I think we should start at 12 and then reduce if possible and increase if absolutely necessary. And also strictly 60 minutes. No 1 hour, 20-minute long episodes. You don't need those 20 extra minutes, dear. Just do it at 1 hour and stop. Because if you can't condense your editing, then you're not doing it right. Ah! I am very much a fan of short dramas nowadays, so I'm looking for those. Maybe I'll try web dramas soon. I don't know. I'm also thinking of watching Korean movies. I think movies will be a fun change of pace because once again, my attention span is just it's gone. I don't have an attention span. So maybe movies would be a good change of pace. Yeah, that's how I've been dealing with my K-drama slump. Dungeons and Dragons, crocheting, and just, I don't know, English shows. But slowly getting back into the Korean stuff. Okay, next question. What is your favorite K-drama era? I think era in terms of like the year. I guess my favorite K-drama year. I will interpret it that way. My favorite K-drama year, everyone says the best is like 2016, whatever, but that's just like Goblin Dots, Weightlifting Fairy. 2 of those I have not even watched. To me, 2018 is the best. Imagine, my Mr. Sunshine, Life. Technically, Sky Castle was in 2018. It started in 2018, late 2018. So, yeah, 2018 is my year. I love all of those shows. They're great. Or, yeah, if I don't absolutely love them, at least I know that they are technically great. So, yeah, that's my year. I don't know. Would I say 2021 wasn't that good? Like, of all the ongoing shows I watched, they weren't that good. Very few were great. Yumi Cells. Ahem. If I have not plugged this show enough, go watch Yumi Cells, man. That's my number 1 this year. Spoiler alert for my ranking of the year. I think that's my number 1. I hope something beats it, just for the sake of I would like to watch another great show. But so far, Yumi Cells is my favorite show that I watched in 2021, I swear. Yeah, that's it. 2020, I mean, it had Chloe, it had Hot Stove, right? It had Hot Stove, Camellia, Cosplay, Brahms, It's Okay to Not Be Okay. Okay, yeah, 2020 was kind of good. But, yeah, if you look at, I guess my basis is like, okay, who were the nominees in the Baeksang Arts Awards for that year? I'd say the roster in 2018 was stronger. That's right. Next question. What are your dream K-drama pairings? I will never shut up about Kang Hanul and Kim Ji-won. It's like my favorite male actor and my favorite female actress. Absolutely. Yes, please. They were together in The Heirs. They even had a kiss scene, but that was The Heirs. And I don't need to explain why that wasn't worth watching. Come on. I don't need to explain why they need a better project, given their talent, given their careers ever since then. I think they deserve better than that. So, Kang Hanul, Kim Ji-won, please make it happen, universe. You have always failed me. You have failed me in so many ways, but just make Kang Hanul and Kim Ji-won happen. Another dream pairing. More like, my dream casting for Sunrook in Yumi Cells is Jung Hae-in. Because I would love to see Kim Go-eun and Jung Hae-in together again. I watched them in Tune In for Love. I always thought Kim Go-eun was a chemistry killer, and except for Jung Hae-in and An Bo-yoon, that was true. But those two, for some reason, there is something there, and I love to see it. So yes, Jung Hae-in, Kim Go-eun forever. Still love them, always. Okay, next question. Which K-drama character are you most similar to? This is a great question, and I already have an answer. Very much prepared. I've thought about this for a very long time. There are two. One male, one female. So the male character I'm most similar to, 100%, is Jang Baeki from Missing, played by Kang Hanul. Why do you think I'm so in love with Kang Hanul? It's because he played the character that, to me, it was like looking straight into the mirror and not liking what you see, but like just accepting what you're seeing and loving it for what it is. Because everything bad about him, I think partially I'm kind of like that. You know, the pride, the perfectionism, but also just not being amazing, and always like, falling a little bit short of where you want to be because of your own perfectionism and your pride. Amazing, my dear. You and I, always. Jang Baeki. Yeah, if you ever wanted to imagine me as a person, Jang Baeki. And I'm not ashamed of it. Okay, I'm not ashamed of it. Yeah, I'm honestly, like him. Exactly like him. Another character, the female character I'm most similar to, is Jae-in from One Spring Night, played by Joo Min Kyung. For context, in One Spring Night, she is the younger sister of Han Ji-min. And that's, like, I guess if Baeki is who I am, you know, in school or at work or something, Jae-in is who I am with my family. I am the youngest child. I am a spoiled brat who gets what she wants and just wants to be a bum. Yeah, I'm a perfectionist who wants to be a bum, okay? It is what it is. That's how life is. So I'm her. I am her, definitely. And I am also the youngest in my family, and I will stay there very happily in that position, reaping the benefits of being the youngest. Yes. So those are the two characters I'm most similar to. Obviously, I am only seeing my negative traits. I don't know like which character I'm most similar to in a positive way, because I would not toot my own horn that way. Literally, I cannot think of a female character that's exactly like me. So no. Okay, next question. What K-dramas had the wackiest premises that somehow worked? Which is a very specific question. And if I think about it, there's only one show that when I think of like, this is wacky, but I kind of love it, it's My Mister. Uh-huh. Yeah, you heard that right. My Mister is wacky as hell. It's crazy. Okay, if I had to summarize and oversimplify the plot of My Mister, okay, we have corporate espionage, wiretapping, cheating. He knows that she knows that he knows that she knows that he knows. There's a loan shark with an aggressive crush on the childhood friend that murdered his dad. What else? What else is here that's absolutely insane makjang levels? Okay, there are so many things in My Mister that if it were not portrayed or delivered the way it was in the show, this would be a makjang plot. But for some reason, it was delivered in such a dark and emotional way that I don't know, you connect more with what they're feeling and what they're going through, and not necessarily what's happening. What are they doing? Do you get me? It's insane. If you like list down all the plotty things that are happening in My Mister, and then if you step back and look at the work as a whole, it seems like, you know, the corporate espionage and the cheating, it's like it's just one small aspect of it. But I'm pretty sure most of us were focused on like this strange emotional connection between two people who have no reason to be associated with each other, but who, you know, with empathy, with seeing each other at their worst, and just being there and trying to help them out however which way they can, somehow they can just change each other's lives for the better. Ish. Hopefully Park Dong-hoon's life he considers is better than what it was before. I don't know with him. Why was he crying at the end of that show? I don't know. Anyway, my mister. Wacky, but so good. And yet, not at all wacky even. And our last question for this episode. What would you say to someone who wants to start their own podcast? I would literally say, just do it, man. So cliche, right? Just do it. And here's why. No one will listen. If you just do it for yourself and do what you want and talk about what you want to talk about in the way you want to talk about it, then maybe someone will listen. Because you are putting yourself out there. And there should be nothing stopping you. Like, the barrier of entry, is that the right term? It's so low. You literally just have to record it in a kind of quiet room, and then there's so many ways to edit it to make it sound, well recorded. And then just upload it, and then make some cover art and a description and a title, and then post it on social media for people to listen to. And that's it. You've put yourself out there. It's not as time-consuming, and I guess it doesn't make you as self-conscious as, say, making a YouTube channel and putting your face out there and just the whole struggles of video editing. It's not that difficult. And so, like, if you have an idea, if you have something you want to say, and you don't even need to be confident in your speaking abilities to do it. You just need to do it. It will take you so much farther. Just doing it will take you so much farther than thinking, what if I make a podcast on this? What if I talk about this? The what ifs will never take you as far as, just the mere action of it. I don't know if I'm making sense, and this is very cliche advice, but if this is the sign you needed to start a podcast, talking about what you want to talk about, this is the sign. Do it. So that's it for me today. Really, that's it. This is our anniversary episode. We're done. I just want to thank everyone who is listening to this podcast and supporting it, people who like and share on social media, people who recommend it to their friends if ever. Like, it's huge. And I am so grateful that I have made it this far because of everyone's support. Because, me having the content and the craziness to take it this far is one thing, but just having people who want to listen, who are interested, and who support it actively in their own ways is just another huge part of it. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for everyone. If you've made it here to the end of this episode, I don't know. Send me a comment on Facebook, or a reply or a quote on Twitter. Like, I don't know. Just one, help me with my engagement. One, there's that. But also two, just like, give me send me a hi, send me a wave, send me an emoji, because I just want to be able to thank the people who were here to support all of this. The podcast will keep going. We are not done. There's still a lot to do. Very exciting anniversary month for me and for all of us. And, well, I don't know about the shows that I'll be watching soon. We'll see if I enjoy any of them. Hopefully I will. But yeah, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for listening. Now and all the other episodes, thank you so much. And I will see you soon. Thanks for tuning in. Feel free to leave a comment, like, subscribe, follow, and tell me what you thought about today's episode. See you soon!